Everybody, I'm just doing these special video because of some news that I heard by watching Six Hex and Hammer 666's video about this, and this is kind of this is the same day. I'm not. This is a different shirt I put on because I'm actually going to go on my treadmill pretty soon. So, um, one of the things that I just read was very alarming and very troubling, and unfortunately, it's not to be unexpected because um, the whole notion of what has happened the last 4 or 5 years with the positioning of the Trump, the Trump people and the populist right and the liberals has been, there's this back door, and this is my theory. There's this back door. We had these neocons, right? That's why Obama got elected, is because the disinformation of the Bush administration, and all the bullshit that happened under him. That's why Obama got elected. I mean, it was partly the economy too, but it was like, oh, we're gonna pull out of these wars and the torture and all this crazy stuff, like the Patriot Act and all this stuff. So, and it didn't really happen. It was very minuscule amounts of reform. But this whole disinformation board thing has just been a mess, and it's about to hopefully get pretty heated, because this is what they did. And I saw this on Six Hex and Hammer's video today. He did another video where he doesn't normally do videos, just impromptu. He talked about this because this is an important subject, and as a more left-leaning person, in general, with a lot of libertarian leanings, I'll admit, this is very troubling and very alarming, and not unexpected. Like I said, see, the thing is, there was this back door provided by the whole, I'll just call it the anti-Trump machine. I'm not a fan of Trump. I never would vote for him. I think he's a clown. I think he's corrupt. But I don't, the substantial difference is, I don't think he's that much different than, and the things that I don't like about him are standard or normal, just maybe somewhat exaggerated at times, normal standard Republican things or right-wing things. So the things I like about him are populist, almost, you could argue, at least from like a 10 years ago version of this, some left-wing populist points of view about things. So the whole notion that Michael Chertoff would assist with the creation of a disinformation board, and I'm going to be really controversial, it's like hiring Goebbels or even like Hitler to run the ADL. The George W. Bush administration was disinformation personified, or misinformation, whatever. So hiring Chertoff, the guy that was one of the co-writers of the Patriot Act, the whole notion of, the war on terror and into the Iraq war was based on disinformation, was based on bullshit, a lot of it. And you're talking about Chertoff, a guy that's known to be sleazy. I mean, this whole thing, like with I remember one of the things that I just looked him up again, because there's another person involved with this, and I forgot who the other person was, who's just as nefarious as well, just as bad. But Chertoff, that name, because that is the person that, like, I remember researching more than this other person. I forgot who the other person was already. I have to look it up. It's someone that was associated with Kushner, which is very strange. But and Trump stuff, which is weird because Trump, so it's really bizarre. So the whole thing with Chertoff is that he was head of Department of Homeland Security after Tom Ridge, which Tom Ridge is a joke too, but I think Tom Ridge is hilarious because it was like the whole like terror alerts with the codes. We're in the same thing now, just with a different a different event, in a certain way. Oh, you're at orange level, red level, green level. Ooh, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? So, anyways, just the biosecurity instead of the national security state. So, regardless of what you believe about that stuff, because I do believe it's a real thing, just like terrorism was a real thing. But I think they use this thing as a political and economic, financial motivations that they have for this. So, this whole thing with Chertoff helping this this disinformation board is just it's the fucking craziest thing I've heard all day, and I actually heard in a while. It heard in a while. Like I've never. So back to this whole theory that I have. So TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, which is a real thing. I said I didn't like Trump. I said I didn't like Trump. I said I didn't like. I don't give a fuck. I just don't. I don't like any of these motherfuckers. I think Trump was funny, unintentionally and intentionally sometimes. I liked how he pissed off the establishment. Kyle Kalinske even says that sometimes. He's like, oh, I liked how he pissed off some of these people, even though I hate him or don't like him or whatever. So TDS, as they call it, not the company, by the way, Trump derangement syndrome, created this backdoor in the political establishment because the neocons had been discredited and had been stigmatized for years. But, and Obama probably, I haven't read up enough about his administration in recent years, but I'm sure he had some of these people come back into play too. But this is the ultimate thing for me because it's like this backdoor that, oh, we can sneak under the radar. We can say, oh, we hate that Trump guy. So, oh, well, you're not so bad then. Oh, well, at least you're against Trump. It's like that boyfriend thing, like I talk about, like, well, at least you're not a heroin addict. It's like, like this ex told me. But anyways, it's like, or my relative told me, oh, at least you're not like your brother. He was a homeless guy. Fuck you. Anyways, the this whole like the enemy of my enemy is my friend thing, just like in politics in this situation, is that these neocons were against Trump, which Trump is not there is an organization, but it's not like this thinking of it as like this unanimous like threat, like a terrorist threat, like they're all the same people, is really unnuanced and irrational, So the neocons were an actual, it's not like neocons were an organization either, but these people were spreading these lies and trying to, and basically destroying our democracy for so many years under Bush. And now they get rewarded by helping with fighting disinformation. It's just appalling and needs to be called out in every way possible. I cannot believe that this is happening in some ways, but at the same time, it's expected because they had that back door, the anti-Trump thing. They could just paint themselves anti-Trump and fit in with the crowd, even if they were obnoxiously evil, even compared to a lot of Trump's people. They could sneak in the back door, and that's what they're doing. So with this disinformation board, Chertoff being involved, it's complete madness. Like, it's completely against all notions of decency in our world that this guy would actually, first of all, have a job at all after what he is involved with. Second of all, have a job with the Biden administration. So, people joked about Biden being a Republican, It's like, it's just like I said, it's like Hitler getting a job at the ADL or something. It's like the key arbiter of disinformation being hired to fight disinformation. Total Orwellian bullshit and nonsense. And it's evil. So this needs to be resisted just as much as the what's her? I don't even remember her name now, but I know Taylor Lorenz is a name. I just don't remember the chick that was doing the disinformation before. This guy makes her look like total civil libertarian in comparison. Just think about the Patriot Act. Just think about that stuff compared to like, oh, well, we just want to censor people's tweets. We just want to go in and edit them. I mean, all these stupid ideas, right? They're dumb. But, you know, her broad, whatever she was doing, like musicals and her TikTok or whatever, this woman, it was like, who gives a shit? It's fine. Like, that kind of stuff is really stupid, but to talk about. But this guy makes her look good, you know, with his history, his checkered past. Oh, let's get someone more evil than the person we were hiring. You know, let's get someone more, even more nefarious and more establishment. It's it's really frustrating in this world to talk about this because people just don't. I mean, people need to remember this is like the collective amnesia of the establishment left right now, is that they think they don't remember what it was like back in the days of Bush and just how, and he was very hated. I would say almost on a level of Trump, maybe not on quite that level, not in that, but he was hated. And but it was a more intelligent hatred than the anti-Trump hatred. It was coming from more of a place of like policy versus like, oh God, he's just a drunk, or he's a dry drunk, or whatever they call him. It's more than that. You know, they did more than that. It was more policy based than a lot of this anti-Trump stuff. But yeah, this is pretty fucking wicked stuff that's going on with this, and not wicked in a good way. I mean, like wicked is a bad usage, and you know, it's like, or a church. It's like a Dick Cheney. I would be surprised if maybe not Dick Cheney, but Liz Cheney gets in the Biden administration somehow. Then we're full on neocon at that point. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Why do we accept mediocrity in our establishment any more than we did? I warned about Biden, you know, I did. I warned that this kind of stuff would happen, basically, that we, you know, be totally like just basically a Republican, which he is. So, this needs to be fought, you know, with memes, and, you know, people need to remember we can never forget about what happened under Bush and what happened with, you know, all these things that happened under all the lies that we were told, you know, and this is something that needs to be resolved. You know, we can't have this happen. That's about all.